This video is brought to you by KiwiBet Uganda. KiwiBet Uganda is giving you a chance to win more money on the Premier League with the Premier League Turbo Odds. They're boosting their odds on the Premier League games just for this season. So in order to participate, head over to the KiwiBet Uganda website. Bet on any Premier League games. I'm going to go with Aston Villa and Fulham to win away from home. So by betting on the Premier League, KiwiBet Uganda allows you to participate in the KiwiBet Turbo Odds promotion, where you're going to get bigger odds for any Premier League games that you actually stake on. Now for this receipt, I'm going to stake 5,000 Ugandan shillings. Remember, if you stake 5,000 and above this week, you'll get a chance to participate in the Max Odds Mastery, where you can win up to 80,000 Ugandan shillings back at the end of the week. I'm placing my bet in the bet arena, so you can copy it using my username, Kosi. Welcome back to the Kosi Arsenal podcast. My name is Kosi. Welcome back to a brand new video. This is the latest Arsenal news and transfer news as well. Arsenal received an official offer from Nottingham Forest to sign Nketiah. The bid is £25 million. Arsenal have turned it down. We want 30 to 35 million. Nottingham Forest continue to talk to Arsenal as he is a key player for them, a key target for them, and Arsenal believe they can raise about 30 to 35. That also means we could see a domino effect where Arsenal go back to the market and try to sign a striker. Victor Gyökeres is our number one since day one to replace Nketiah after missing out, on the striker, from RB Leipzig. Arsenal are working on the Victor Gyökeres end, and we're going to be talking about Mikel Merino as well, because the director of football at Real Sociedad has come out and said we are still continuing to talk with Arsenal. The player's already told us he wants to go to Arsenal, and we are not going to stand in his way. However, we want an offer that satisfies us, and we want an offer that really feels real value for Mikel Merino. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well. The market is back, back in life, and I think we have 10 days to the end of the window. Are we going to see good business? Are we going to see crazy business? Definitely not. But I still think some players we expected to get out of the club will get out, and we might see one more good signing. So let's start off with the Nketiah story. According to David Stein, it's a breaking story. He says Nottingham Forest are working on a deal to sign Nketiah from Arsenal. £25 million plus, including add-ons. An opening bid has been rejected, but talks continue as Nottingham Forest look at Nketiah as a top target. Arsenal want around 30 to 35 million, and Crystal Palace retain interest, but there is no current bid to sign Nketiah. There are also no current club-to-club talks as well. So Nketiah leaving Arsenal is still a big possibility. I mean, you feel for him. By now, he should be an Olympique Marseille player. Marseille offered us around 27 million euros, and Arsenal turned it down, and Arsenal said, we don't want that. That's around 22 million pounds. We're not going to sell him for anything less than 30 to 35. Now, I'm going to say this. If Nottingham Forest give us 30 to 35 million, then Arsenal have done well, being patient, waiting for a good offer, waiting for the right offer. It's good. But if we end up not selling him after turning down two bids, then that is a big disaster. My fear with Nketiah is simple. If we don't sell him, Arsenal don't sign a striker. That is number one. But also number two, I don't think that his value is going to appreciate this season. I think his value is going to depreciate. With Gabriel Jesus struggling to get into the team, you see him as the immediate replacement, the immediate substitute who comes on for any player. If Saka goes off, there is a likelihood that will bring on, Gabriel Jesus. If Havertz goes off, there is a likelihood that will bring on Gabriel Jesus as well. So Nketiah's role and value in the squad is diminishing slowly but surely. You either sell him this summer or risk losing him, next summer for pennies. Now, £25 million for me, that is very good money. That is very close to 29 million euros or even 30 million euros, and Arsenal are standing their ground. We are saying we will not sell him unless we get 30 million pounds, unless we get something around 34 million euros. So the strategy right now is can we get the 30 million euros that we want to pay for Mikel Merino from Nketiah? It's very, very smart business, by the way. It looks like Arsenal are not willing to spend any of their money this campaign. We're not looking to spend any of our cash this campaign, and I really don't have a problem with that. We have been stingy this summer. We have been very, very, very stingy, but I really don't care. As long as we can get to sign the players we want, as long as we can get to bring in the quality that we need, that is all that matters. So Nketiah to Nottingham Forest is a big possibility. They're looking at him as a top striker, priority. And I tell you, Forest have a few players to look at Nketiah as a priority, as a top target. We are so lucky. Arsenal cannot allow Nottingham Forest to walk away out of this deal. If they're willing to bid again, maybe 27, maybe 28 million, take that money and run. This is a squad player you're not using. You're not going to use him. And I tell you, you cannot convince any club that Nketiah is going to score for them 20 goals plus or 15 goals plus. He's definitely going to be scoring 11 to 12, and that is decent for a club like Nottingham Forest. So, talks continuing. Now, what does this mean in light for Arsenal's pursuit of a striker? A few hours ago, there were talks that Arsenal was struggling to lose Nketiah and sell him out. So, we might not sign a striker. This changes the dimension of things. Obviously, Eddie's still here. That means that Arsenal still have the chance of not selling him and therefore not signing a striker. I think for me, it's as straightforward as this. If Arsenal sell Eddie Nketiah, Arsenal will buy a striker. If Arsenal fail to sell Eddie Nketiah, Arsenal will not sign a striker. With this piece of story, it means that Arsenal are now also going to refocus and reshape our efforts to go back in the market and sign a number 9. Now, it's a very, very difficult market as compared to a few weeks ago, a few months ago. The market has become very, very difficult. Saudi Arabia have come in for Ivan Toney. I don't think you're going to compete with them unless he wants to stay in the Premier League. I still think that they can give him the wages that he wants, and wages that are actually crazy. So I can see Ivan Toney going over to Saudi. Osimhen is the one that I'm looking at, and I'm like, where is he gonna go? If Eddie Nketiah is leaving Arsenal, where is Osimhen gonna go, right? We were told by Florian Plettenberg 1 week ago that Arsenal had actually sounded out, the opportunity to sign Victor Osimhen almost like 2 weeks ago, but then the deal didn't even materialize as Napoli are still asking for crazy money. Today, Napoli have put in a bid for Victor Osimhen, 30 million euros. I mean, if Arsenal could only just bid 80 million euros, just put in a cheeky bid for 80 million euros for Victor Osimhen, you never know what's going to come out of there. But of course, the number one priority for Arsenal, the number one target for Arsenal is Victor Gyökeres. He's the one that we are looking at. He's the one that Arsenal feel should be coming into this squad, and he would make us much better. Now, for me, when I looked at the first game against Wolverhampton Wanderers, I think there was something lacking. This team has something lacking. And I know many people have given the excuse that it was day one, it's the first game of the season. But there's so many clubs I watched over the weekend, and they displayed zero interest in knowing or hearing that this is the first game of the campaign. And the first club that I would say is Brighton. The second club I would say is Man City. All of them played football in a way that is exciting, satisfying, and very effective. So I think Arsenal lacks something up front. We lack some power in the final third. And that could be courtesy of us not having a striker. That could be maybe Mikel Merino is missing in the team. I don't know. But for me, what I know is that this attack is lacking. This attack is missing. So Eddie Nketiah's move out of the club is a huge one, is a very important one in terms of us getting a striker. I mean, he leaves, you've got to replace him, but most importantly, he gives Arsenal some cash, much needed cash. I mean, Mikel Merino and Calafiore, those two, they're coming in for a combined 70 million euros. If Arsenal sell Eddie Nketiah for 35 and we sold Emil Smith-Rowe for 40 million euros, that is 70 million euros. So that means that Arsenal have spent zero money of their money this summer. It's about selling and buying. So could we maybe splash some 60, 65, maybe 70, 75 million on one player? It remains to be seen. So Gyökeres, this is the chance. This is the time. I don't know whether Sporting are really thinking they're going to lose him, because they've been trying to sign Vitor Roque. Actually, Sporting have been leading the race to sign Vitor Roque, but there is also another, stumbling block, which is Real Betis. So, but I'm looking at Sporting trying to sign Vitor Roque, and I'm like, if you have Gyökeres, why are you trying to sign Vitor Roque for 30 million euros? Do you have some information? Do you have a feeling as Sporting CP that you will be losing Gyökeres this summer? If that is the case, then probably that is why. So again, that is something that is making rounds. Nketiah is off to Nottingham Forest potentially, and then Victor Gyökeres could be coming this side potentially as well. Now, the other big story is that Real Sociedad have given us something on the Mikel Merino deal. The director has been speaking about the deal, and he said at the moment the player has made it very clear that he wants to go to Arsenal, and we are not going to stand in his way. We're not planning to stand in his way. All we can say is that Arsenal have to meet our terms and conditions. Now, what is very clear here is that Real Sociedad are not only looking to agree on the price, 29.8 million, that's okay, but they're also really trying to force Arsenal to pay much of that money up front. That is where the deal becomes a problem. So I'll tell you something. Nketiah could leave Arsenal this summer on a potential loan plus an obligation. Of course, that was not included in what David said, but that could happen. I mean, Arsenal are open to letting him go on such an offer to Olympique Marseille. It didn't happen. So I'm thinking if Real Sociedad are saying Arsenal should pay £25 million up front of the 29, that deal is not going to happen. I can tell you right now, that deal is not going to happen. And also, the director of Football Sociedad said something very, very cringe. He said, when we heard about Merino and Arsenal about like 3 weeks ago, we said, why didn't they come earlier? Or why did they come at all? So they never wanted any clubs to come in for Merino. They never wanted any clubs to come in and destabilize what they had with the player. But Arsenal had looked at him and they had felt this is the perfect man for the project. So which means that because they felt like Arsenal have come in late, they are going to extract every single penny, every single dime out of this Arsenal side. And we deserve it. We brought it on ourselves. We caused it. We deserve it. In this transfer market, I cannot defend Arsenal. There are things I can do. I cannot defend Arsenal. I mean, we have been awful. We have been weak. We have been very, 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 immature. Like, it's been beyond. I remember Glenn and I doing a podcast, and we were very, very strong on protecting Edu and protecting Mikel and protecting the negotiation team. But I tell you, I don't think I have enough to protect the team. All I can say is if the policy was sell to buy, we should have tried to sell earlier. We should have tried to find a solution a little bit earlier. But the good thing today, is that Arsenal are in talks with Real Sociedad. Talks will continue this week, according to Real Sociedad. They will continue to talk to Arsenal, and until they get what they can call a yes deal. So let's wait and see. Merino should be an Arsenal player before Aston Villa. That is the expectation. And maybe he's part of the squad that plays Aston Villa. Maybe he's part of the squad that plays the last game before preseason. We wait to see. At the moment, it is not looking very, very good. Now, in terms of departures, apart from Nketiah, Fabrizio has said that Jakub Kiwior is one of the players that are expected to leave the club this summer as well. Jakub Kiwior is a player that was wanted by Bologna, but Bologna said we are not actually going to, Kiwior said we are not going to be joining Bologna. He doesn't want to go to Bologna. And therefore, after Juventus signing Kalulu from AC Milan, now there's a big possibility that Kiwior could go to Napoli or Inter Milan. There is a big Italian club that will sign Jakub Kiwior. That is the expectation. Arsenal are open to letting him go on loan which is actually an incentive to the deal only if the other club involved is going to agree to an obligation to buy. Now, Partey is another player that could leave potentially. We talked about this together with Fabio Vieira and Ramsdale. If Ramsdale leaves, again, sources are saying that Joan Garcia is going to be the replacement for him.